everybody has got to realize that the battle is right here. This is where the battle is. Because this is the place where America destroys its kids. Right here. And the question is whether we're going to survive. And right now when we're here, we're being turned into vegetables. Into vegetables. And what we got to do is reject every single thing that they stand for. And become obscene. Because this school destroys language. That's why we were found guilty in Chicago of screaming, fuck. Because they destroyed language. They've destroyed every word. They've said so many thousands of words that they don't mean anything anymore. We were guilty in Chicago of obscenity. We were guilty of saying fuck. And I think I understand why that happens. Because America destroys language. Cars, love, shell. Revolution. A revolution in combating bad breath. A revolution in toilet paper. But there's one fucking word that they can't co-opt. They can't take away from us. That word is fuck. Fuck. Let's say fuck Ronald Reagan so loud the trustees can hear it in San Francisco. Okay? Fuck Ronald Reagan. 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 Louder. Fuck Ronald Reagan. 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 Can you hear it, Ronnie? Fuck Ronald Reagan. 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 Anybody else you want to fuck? Here's the chancellor here. Let's go.
What's your name? Chancellor.
We got.
How come they all love? I don't know.
You see how many people there are? We go on for hours. Go on for hours. Now think in Chicago, we got 6 months for shouting bullshit. 6 months for shouting bullshit. Dave Dellinger stood up when a pig was almost staying lying about him and shouted bullshit. And old Judge Hoffman kept us after school, gave us to detention and sentenced Dave to jail, canceled his bail for shouting bullshit. And then I stood up and I shouted, bullshit, bullshit, Dave's right, bullshit. Then he stood up and said, bullshit, bullshit, Dave's right, bullshit. Ivy stood up and said, you're a shanda for the goyim. In case you don't know what that means Julie, you're a front man for the Ross power structure. You're a disgrace to the Jews, you little runt. And we used to refer to old Julius Hoffman. Julius kept saying, you call me a pig in the highest court of the land? The highest court of the land? Well, let me tell you, you didn't get very high in that court. You had a clump stone to get high there. Highest court, everybody was always having experience in their lives. Judge Hoffman said, never in my 80 years have I ever seen defendants like this. And have I ever seen lawyers like this. And the prosecution would get up and say, never in our 50 years have we ever seen mouthpiece like this. And defendants like this. And Constable Weigels would get up and say, never in our 40 years if we seen a judge like this and prosecutors like this. And the defendants would jump up barefoot on the table and say, never in our 10 years of agitating have we ever seen a judge like this or a courtroom like this. So anyway, shot of bullshit. Now the next day the New York Times said that the defendants were jailed for uttering a barnyard epithet. And take the Chicago Sun-Times. The Chicago Sun-Times said the defendants were jailed for uttering what is commonly known as a barnyard epithet. Parentheses. The Chicago Sun-Times has a policy against uttering such words. However, because of the importance of this trial, and because the people have a right to know what's going on, we are going to make an exception today and print the word. If you don't want to know what the word is, turn the page now! I'd like to meet one person who turned the page! That person would truly be a saint! That person would truly be a saint! The word is, quote, for bullshit, period, end of quote, and in parentheses. America's afraid of obscenity because America's afraid of the human body. Because America's afraid of sex. Because America tries to get us to be ashamed of ourselves. And there's an incredible thing happening in this country. For the first time, people are standing up and saying, we're not ashamed of who we are anymore. Everybody's doing that. Women can cripple this country. And that's why women's liberation is going to cripple this country. Because women are slaves. Slaves in the offices and slaves in the homes. And if women stop being slaves in the offices and the homes, this country would be crippled. They would stop tomorrow. And everybody's standing up now and saying, I'm proud to be what I am. I'm not ashamed of who I am. Because this country tries to get you to be ashamed of who you are. Tries to get black people and brown people to be ashamed of who they are. Long hairs to be ashamed. Women to be ashamed. Homosexuals are standing up now and saying, I'm proud to be homosexual. And that's out of sight. Let's hear it for the gay power, too. Because when everybody stands up and says, I'm proud to be who I am, this country's going to crumble. Because it's all built on the church and Christianity and God is right. And making money, living in the suburbs, and they want us all to conform to a middle-class ideal. We're the opposite of everything our parents told us to be. The exact opposite. We're going to create a world in which everything is free. Because capitalism is stealing. Everything that this country has was stolen. It was stolen from the Indians. It was stolen from the black people. And we're going to take it back. Stealing is moral. Out of sight. The Indians are taking it back. The blacks are taking it back. The poor are taking it back. The freaks are taking it back. We're not going to be part of this system that oppresses poor people. Without the idea, people are always coming up to the Yippies and the Panthers and saying, where do you get your money? Yippie, where do you get your money? Panther, where do you get your money? Anybody ever go up to Kennedy and say, hey, Kennedy, where'd you get your money, Kennedy? Did you ever see at the press conference of the president, some reporter getting up and say, President Nixon, where'd you get your money? Anybody ever go up to Rockefeller and say, hey, Rockefeller, where'd you get your money? Anybody ever go up to the Pope and say, hey, Pope, where'd you get your ring? We know that the rich have what they got because they stole it from the poor. And we know that the trustees are the leading parasites in this country. And we know that we're not going to be free until there's no more trustees. And we're going to drive the trustees off this campus. We're not going to let Ronald Reagan decide for us what education is. Because according to Ronald Reagan, education is anything that's good for business. And we know business is bullshit. Business is evil. We're going to build a world without businessmen, without capitalism. There'll be no money. Everything's going to be free. And we know it's possible. Because we're the first communist generation. We know it's possible. This country tries to get us to compete against one another. And think it. I know that when I was 17 and 15 and I was at school, I used to blame myself because I didn't get good grades. Because this country teaches you guilt. Teaches you to hate yourself and blame yourself. Because you don't do well according to their phony standards. Well, their standards are sick. And we're not going to blame ourselves if we don't succeed against those standards because we don't want to succeed. If you get good grades in the school, you're in trouble. Because that means you're succeeding according to sick standards. And the standards are sick. This system functions by guilt. And everybody's got to look at his neighbor as a competitor. I'm doing better than he is. I'm not doing better than he is. And this country turns its young kids and makes them blame each other and compete against each other and say, wow, I got a better grade than he is, or I did better than he is. Fuck that shit. We ain't going to compete against each other for meaningless grades. We know the most important thing is for us to be brothers and sisters with each other, not to compete. And we know that this system turns everybody against each other, makes everybody compete with each other, makes everybody play a role, play a function. And I sat in that courtroom in Chicago and I saw people playing the role of marshals, people playing the role of reporters, people playing the role of prosecutors, playing the role of judges. Nobody was a human being. Nobody could break out of his role. And the purpose of school is to teach you to play that role. And you should see those phony reporters in Chicago writing down everything that happened. They could kill us in that courtroom and they'd write it down. I only saw one time when a reporter actually broke into a battle and joined us. We're not going to be on the sidelines. We're not going to sit on the fence. We're going to be involved. And we know that we're fighting for our own freedom because we're the most oppressed. And the future of the entire planet is at stake. Because this country is bent on self-destruction. Self-destruction. And the only way we can save the planet is through revolution. There's no other way. And the only way we can do that is each one of us making a revolution in his own lives and joining with his brothers and sisters and joining with blacks and Chicanos and Vietnamese and all the others because we're the majority. We're the majority throughout the world. And we're the majority right here at home, the young people. Why isn't this school closed in sympathy with the high school kids are now on strike? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. High school kids on strike, and you're still carrying books like machines. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. High school kids got more brains and more bravery and more energy than college students. And where were you when the mailman went out on strike? You all phonies talking about working class revolution? Well, there you had one. And why wasn't there a strike on every campus in sympathy with our brothers and sisters who were striking when the males were on strike? What a blow that would have struck for worker-student unity. Well, let me tell you, there's going to be another post office strike next week, the week after, tomorrow, today, who knows? There's going to be an auto strike. Half the taxi drivers in New York City are wrong hairs, and they're going to paralyze the transportation system in New York City within 2 years. Because the working class is getting yippee-ized. They're all becoming part of our culture. Because we're the only thing growing in this country. We are the new heroes. We're the new heroes. That's what frightens them. Those motherfuckers, no businessman, no mainstream politician. Ronald Reagan couldn't come here and talk to you the way I'm talking. He couldn't. But to be such bullshit, such nonsense, he'd just be laughed at. But they know that I'm speaking from my experience. And it's relating to your experience because we've shared the same experiences of oppression in middle-class America. And they're scared to death because they know, the FBI agents that are here, they know that there's a revolution taking place among their own kids. The revolution is in the sperm of the ruling class. Every time they got a kid, it turns out to be a bearded, long-haired hippie or a Black Panther. They must be scared to death to have kids. And the obituary pages are the casualty lists of dying America. Now, wait a minute. Let me rap just a little bit about TV. Because this is like very interesting. The most brilliant McLuhanite in this country, the most brilliant media freak in this country is Spiro Agnew. Spiro Agnew's speech on television was absolutely right out of the Yippie Bible. Right out of the Yippie Bible. What did Spiro say? Spiro said that the moment a long-haired beast comes on television, all our young kids want to grow their hair long. The moment a dope-smoking freak comes on television, all our kids want to become dope-smoking freaks. The moment a Black Panther gets on TV, overnight you got thousands of Black Panthers across the country. See, because television presents our image across the world, and it goes into every living room. And every 5- and 6-year-old kid says, I want to do that too. I want to kill my parents. I want to tear down the schools. And when old Walter Cronkite himself brings down that big map of the United States, and he shows the campuses blowing up, every young kid out there says, I want my campus on that map. Put UCLA on that map. So we told these people with their cameras, you're out of sight. We don't care what you say about us. Call us commies. Call us anarchists. We don't take dares. Marijuana leads to God. Tell anything you want. Say it. The kids know. The kids know. The parents don't know, but the kids know. And we ain't worried about communicating with our parents. We ain't worried about communicating with respectable middle-class America. We've done given up on them. They don't even understand our language. We're communicating to the young kids. And old Spiro Agnew's right. And I ran into Walter Cronkite in the street the other day, New York City. I said, yeah, really, right off my TV screen. I walked up and I grabbed it. I said, are you Walter Cronkite? Yes. I said, Walter, you're out of sight. You're the hero of the revolution. Without you, Walter, what would we be? Spiro's right, Walter. Just more riots, more disruption, more burning. Looks so good on colored TV, the fire. You should have seen the burning of the Bank of America on colored TV. I was in jail, I didn't see it. My wife Nancy did, said it was out of sight. All right, so I turned around to Cronkite and said, hey, Walter, Spiro's going to get you. Spiro's going to get you, because the people that control this country, and make no mistake about it, the people that control this country are the CIA, the FBI, the pigs in the police departments, the top big businessmen. They control this country. You can go around and you can debate and you can argue and you can talk about elections and talk about this, but the people that control this country ain't got no ears. But they know one thing. They know we get on TV, it relates to all the young kids, and they're going to try to stop us from being on TV. Because the totalitarian state needs to totally control the means of communication. And that's what's so key about that battle in Chicago in August 1968, is that it was on television, everybody saw it. And when they gagged and chained Bobby Seale, there was that picture of Bobby Seale gagged and chained, and it was on television. And middle-class America had a pupil eating their steaks of seeing Bobby Seale gagged and chained. You dig? Because America doesn't like to have its racism so prominently displayed. And Walter Cronkite said a fascinating thing to me. I didn't know he was so hip. But he said, I said, Walter, Spiro's going to get you. And then he said to me, he said, Jerry, when the Nazis come to my door to get me, I hope you're in front on the barricades. We are going to be on the front of the barricades out of sight, Walter. me tell you, I've never been in a city where the right wing controls the media as it does in L.A. Now I watch this guy. You got a police chief to read the news, do you? A police chief reads you the news, and then after he reads it, he gives a little sewer medication and gets the message. Okay, so you got a police chief that reads you the news, and then you got this guy George Patton. Let me tell you, George Patton and Tom, what's his name, Redden, they're creating more revolution than we ever could. They're great. That's what I said to Julie Hoffman. That's what I said to Julie when he sentenced me to 5 years in jail. I said, Julius, you're the nation's top yippee. You incited more riots than we ever could. I voted the last election for Ronald Reagan. I dig movie stars going into politics. That's where they belong. Because left-wing yippies like us can always beat right-wing yippies in the battle. And old Redden and the other guy, Putnam and Ronnie Reagan, they're yippies. They're right-wing yippies. Julius Hoffman's a yippie. A yippie is a motherfucker can't keep his mouth shut. Spirago's a yippie. The good thing you gotta worry about are these guys in suits and ties call themselves professors that try to tell you life's very complicated. Get all the facts before you act. Read 15,000 more books. Have you finished your paper yet? Have you read about the 18th century yet? And what they want to do is pass off their castration to you. That's what you got to worry about. Let me tell you, the moment a professor comes along who's the least bit different, what happens? The trustees, those motherfucking bastards, fire them. And you should take that shit. You should get all the professors that are middle-class anal personalities out and keep the ones that are good. Like Angela Davis, Mike Kiger. And Mike Schwartz. Now there are some professors who are permanent children. There are some professors who are permanent troublemakers. There are some professors that are little kids like us. I'm thinking of Don Kalish when I say that. The 99.999 of the professors are washed up, middle-class, academic intellectuals who are doing it because they can't do anything else, and they want to get you to become anal just like them, and we ain't going to go on that trip. Right, don't ask me sectarian bullshit questions. Where were you? Where were you when Bobby Seale was gagged and chained, idiot? Shut up. Pig. All right. My brother just behind me said tell him about Santa Rita because the two of us just seen each other for the first time in about 7 months. The last time we saw each other, we were at Santa Rita Jail. Santa Rita Rehabilitation Center, they call it. How can we be rehabilitated since we've never been rehabilitated in the first place? This school's a rehabilitation center. Actually, Santa Rita is just like UCLA. They should know all about it. They know what it's about. Just like this, it's just like UCLA. Only difference is the people at Santa Rita know they're in jail. You don't know you're in jail. You got numbers too, you got everything. You got cards, you got people telling you where to be here and where to be there. You got 4 years this and that and so forth. And this campus is controlled and controlled by the pigs, just like over there. Going to school, you're just training to be in jail, trained to be in the courtroom. But something new is happening. Something new is happening. First of all, the Viet Cong won't let you. Think that. The Viet Cong ain't going to let you remain middle-class intellectuals. And the Black Panthers ain't going to let you. And the Yippies ain't going to let you. Because you have to make a choice. You're either with Ronald Reagan or with us, because there's nothing in the middle. Nothing in the middle. You got to make a choice. Just like you had to make a choice in Nazi Germany. You either were for the Jews or you were for the Nazis. And if you're standing in the middle, you're a good German. Because right today, this government has millions of people in jail. And it's planning to electrocute Bobby Seale. And it's Timothy Leary in jail. And it's destroying white middle-class youth by crippling them and destroying their dreams. And we got to take history into our own hands. And I don't want people coming up to me when this whole rap is over and saying, I agree with you. Fuck that. But that don't mean shit. Don't tell your professor you agree with him. That don't mean anything. I don't even want you to disagree with me. There's no examination tomorrow in this whole thing. No exam. Whether you agree or disagree don't mean a thing. But that doesn't count. Action's the only thing that counts. Action's the only thing that counts. Life is not an intellectual trick, it's a trick for life or death. That's what counts. And too many people that come up to me when it's all, come to me and say, wow, we're behind you. We sympathize with you. We really sympathize with you. Fuck sympathy. The Black Panthers don't need sympathy. They don't need mothers. They need motherfuckers. They need brothers. And don't come up to us and say, we're behind you. We're behind you. But we don't want you to be behind us. We want you to be in front of us. In front. I hope nobody goes back to class the rest of the day. If the law student's got to show away, there's something really wrong here. Nobody goes to class the rest of the day. Stay here, go somewhere, do something, decide what your life's all about. But don't become a part of this bureaucratic bullshit machine. Fuck the trustees. Yippee, do it.